Hello everyone, TLSG here. Tonight we had Legion release into the game. Legion is a 5-cost, 8-power card that has the on reveal turn the other locations into this one. And so this is going to be, a lot of people thought it was going to be a meme card. I personally think it is going to be insane. There are so many scenarios where this could be good. People were saying it was going to be a more expensive snow guard, and I had low hopes initially for the interaction, but I was watching Binks' stream when he had Ben join him into that stream as a co-host. They played together. It was a fantastic stream. If you want to watch it, I'll leave a link in the description below. But this particular clip is what caught my attention. When Binks was talking about Legion, look at Ben's face.
I think Legion's going to be bad. I don't really see him showing up in any like really big competitive areas. Has anything surprised you about Legion that you've seen? Or?
And so that initially told me that this may be a little bit better than people are anticipating. And then earlier today, we got confirmation from Glenn that it will work with flooding locations. So if you use Storm on 4 into a Legion on 5, that is essentially going to end the game for everybody. Nobody will be able to play cards because all of the locations will turn into flooded locations. And that is going to be incredibly strong in lockdown style lists. And another card that is partnered with the seasonal caches happens to be High Evolutionary. And what better way to be able to get continual value even when you can't play than High Evolutionary. And so we're going to be building a deck that uses a lot of low-cost cards that can grow over time or negatively afflict the opponent like a Cyclops, so that even if we can't play, we can get value. And so in this list, there may be some room for some adjustments. You may notice that this looks similar but very different from the original High Evolutionary control that we built. And that is because we are leaning so heavily on the Legion interaction, on the Storm and Legion interaction. So this one, I know a lot did end up cutting Chavez. I don't think cutting Chavez in this particular version is going to be the right call. Chavez increases your odds or chances of drawing into those key cards. And so in this deck, we're going to need Storm and we're going to need Legion. All of the other ones we can use interchangeably, but those two are going to be the biggest, most impactful cards in this deck. And then as a backup plan, we have Spider-Man, but you'll notice we took out the Evolved Hulk. We took out the big heavy hitters. We took out the Doctor Doom because I don't anticipate being able to play on turn 6. And so I want to be able to set up myself for the most success to have initiative going into turn 5 so that I can make sure that Legion goes off and the opponent can't drop like a Cosmo to block it. So we're not going to dig too deep into this, but I do think there are going to be a lot of really cool uses for Legion as we experiment with the card and as we test it out. But unironically, in this version, my two biggest fears or threats are going to be Snow Guard, because that could disable all of the flooded locations, and then we don't have a big impactful last turn, and the opponent might. So Snow Guard and then Phoenix Force, both of which are underperforming cards. But in this particular sense, if they get a Phoenix Force, they could, if it's a multiple man, they can move it all across the board, and then we are in a lot of trouble. We're going to go ahead and jump into the Gold Conquest. Thank you guys as always for being here. I hope that you guys are as excited about this card as I am. Let's jump on in. Still looking for Jubilee Iron Lad Legion, namely Legion, but we'll see. If we don't get Legion, this becomes a lot harder to win, but we will see. The Storm's going to come down. Hopefully we can put them in a position where they just can't win. Legion, come on, Legion. Oh, Iron Lad. Iron Lad. Actually, Iron Lad into Jubilee would be bad because we already have stuff here. Iron Lad into Legion. Could we just Spider-Man instead? That's probably the safer play, but I think they play into the flooded location. We're going to hit Legion here, no doubt. Okay, the Black Panther is big. I don't know if we even beat that with a soak on the last turn. It is Iron Lad into Jubilee. We're going to have to retreat here because we don't have the space to draw. The next one would have been a 50-50 between Cyclops and Legion, which is unfortunate. Next time, unless we have the key resources in place, we need to kind of keep that in mind. Now, there's a chance that we win this one with a soak, but they could have... They do have the Arnhem Zola because their Iron Lad hit it, and so we have to be cautious of that. It's unfortunate. It's not the way you want to start. Let's see Legion get popped into our hand here. Okay, the Jubilee now. So that's gonna be good to dig. White Hot Room's not terrible for us. We can fill it up, get extra energy potentially, storm a different location, and then just end the game is the goal. Project Pegasus. is wild here. I think we just dig. If it hits Storm, not great. Jeff is going to be the best thing we could pull here, but we are going to cap out this left lane. We're just going to go all in for it. Get the extra energy. We get Jeff. That's beautiful. And that takes it off the top of our deck, so now we have a much better chance to draw into the Storm and the Legion part of our combo. And we have the extra energy. So here's the Storm. And so I think we do Storm. Do we do Storm this turn? I almost think we just wait a turn. We just wait and soak. That gives Storm some time to cook. But at the same time, the Wong is not what we want to see. All right. I'm just going to do High Evolutionary. They do have the Wong, but we have the extra energy, which is huge. We're going to be storming Project Pegasus. As soon as we get Legion, we are going to just end the game with like an Iron Lad and a Legion or something big. And so they just skip and soak here. We're just going to play our High Evolutionary and play it slowly. We don't have a lot of resources left. We get the Cyclops. Let's do Storm, Cyclops, and then that will still afflict here. Next turn, it's going to be a 50-50 for the Iron Lad. We're either drawing into Legion or Iron Lad's going to hit it, and that's what we want to do, is really thin out our deck as much as humanly possible. And so we draw into our Sunspot. This becomes a 50-50, which does feel a little bit bad. But we haven't seen Legion. 2 full games. Legion hasn't showed itself. Don't do me wrong, Iron Lad. It's a 50-50. Oh, no, I swear he's in the deck. He is in the deck, you guys. That's a double trigger of Wong. Okay, the Sunspot and then something over here. Our Jeff. They have an Arnold Zola. Can they win this one? I don't know that they can win this one. We just do Chavez. We didn't get what we needed, but an Arnold Zola doesn't win them any of the lanes. I'm okay still sending it, yeah. We built this deck specifically to have the biggest chance to draw into Legion, and we have not seen him. I mean, we'll get him eventually. It's just beginner's bad luck. Still no Legion. Please? We're begging. We're begging here. Nothing yet. Okay. Let's go Nebula. Nebula and C. We don't have Storm yet either, which is okay. The Raft. Okay, and we get Jubilee. Nothing for 2. Our Nebula is on the board. They played Jeff to stop our Nebula from scaling. Sunspot. I don't know if we even do Wasp yet. We can do Wasp for free next turn, and so next turn we do like a Wasp into a Jubilee to get the free Raft resource, and then who knows what it turns into, right? They could be going Sand. They're not going Sandman, right? They're just going on reveal, just like heavy on reveal. So they have to have an Odin somewhere, like a Wong, a Mystique, Gambit, Odin type of thing. Green Goblin's unfortunate, but I think it's okay. We get Jeff. Let's go, I guess, Wasp and Jubilee. That's going to dig into our deck. This is going to be the time we pull Legion, right? And turn everything into the Raft, which would be wild. But also kind of cool, I guess, because then we could leverage one free resource into another. What do we pull? Storm? No. Spider-Man. Spider-Man's not terrible, I guess. Wow. Destroyer. Destroyer is a little bit terrible. Goodness. He's finally here. Oh, wait. Wakanda into Destroyer is nasty, right? Legion into Wakanda copies this location. They can't Gambit. They can't Gambit. They can't Arnold Zola. They can't do anything that they want to do. We're going to save the Destroyer as that surprise play on the last turn, but this is going to be beautiful. Not what we built the deck to do with Legion, but it's going to be one of those consistency pieces where sometimes you're going to find good uses out of them anyways. They go in the left lane. The Black Panther, big. Hitting that with an Arnim Zola or hitting that with an Arnim Zola would be treacherous, but they're not going to be able to destroy the Black Panther anymore, and so now it is stuck in that lane, which is so beautiful. That is such a cool interaction. So what do? They do Dr. Doom. That's 4 here, 4 here. Do we just Destroyer and Soak? I think we do. I don't think there's any way that they beat us if we Destroyer and Soak here. Let's go ahead and lock it in. I think we're fine. We get the 6 energy in the Sunspot. If they do a leader to copy it, oh wait, oh no. If they do a leader to copy it, they win with the double Destroyer. A leader here, we're losing. Okay, wait. 1 card into Wakanda. How big is it? Iron Lad, what does it hit? Hopefully nothing major. Okay, nope, we get the 6. We get the 6 cube winner. As soon as Legion showed up, we turned this thing around. Hopefully it's a little bit more smooth sailing from here, but that was beautiful. That was so exciting of a use for Legion. Beautiful. That's all we needed. We could continue to duplicate Wasp just because we have it. And we know that we're going to storm all of the locations. Mirror Dimension is usually kind of iffy, but in this scenario, I think it's fine. Let's go ahead and lock them the rest of the way in. I think we can bring this one home against Broncos. We're going to play Wasp a couple times. Next turn, we'll just play Cyclops on Curve. On 4, we will do Storm off of Curve into a Legion, and I don't know that there's going to be much that they can do to contest it. Their double Nebula is very scary, though. Unless we get like a Sunspot or something that allows us to float here. Legion Legion cannot be used anymore, you guys. Legion's busted now. Unless this turns into the peak and switches them back. Okay. Hear me out. We Storm. We Jubilee and copy it. If peak hits, that's fine. We can use Legion onto the Storm. Wasp becomes free again. Jubilee pulls into our Sunspot so we can win the left lane. That's my read, and we're sticking to it. The one time we have both pieces in our hand, and Peak just comes in and destroys on it. And Jubilee does pull into Sunspot. So that is value added. And let's see. Middle turns into the flooded location. Oh, we changed the Peak. It's not our night, you guys. Let's do Iron Lad. No. I'm gonna do something weird like this. I don't know that it's fantastic. We have the 1 out of 3 to hit Jeff, so maybe we can move it if we need to. Maybe we just are able to outscale in this right lane, and then we can lock them maybe with the Spider-Man in the left lane. Would be big, but we'll see. And we can play into the middle location one more turn. And so if we get Spider-Man here, I think we Spider-Man left and then Soak. We have this lane locked in. They can't Arnim Zola yet. This is my read, and we're sticking to it. They do double drop into the middle location, which is fine. Iron Lad, as long as it doesn't hit their Arnim Zola. Gambit. No, the Gambit, though. They hit us with the Gambit. We lose now, right? No, Nebula only scales one more time. Unless they have... No, they discarded Jeff. Unless they had Jeff, Nebula only scales one more time over here. We're able to hold it down with just the 11. We didn't get a single use of the Legion interaction how we intended on it, but we did get a use of the Legion interaction. Let's go ahead and take the first battle victory against Broncos. We're going to jump straight into battle number 2. All right, next up we have Dog Backwards. God. They're saying that they're God. We're going to go ahead and Sunspot into, I guess, just the Savage Land. We're okay with that. That's a decent amount of value and residual value over the course of the game, especially if we can lock in all of the locations. This tower could be kind of wild if we had movement cards. Just duplicating that with Legion could be really, really exciting. But we're just going to do Nebula there. We're looking for Storm. If we get Storm, we have both of these pieces, which is beautiful. If we don't get Storm, we're looking for Jubilee or Iron Lad to dig deeper to try to get the Storm. Jeff here is perfect. That will scale our Sunspot by 1, our Nebula scales, and our Jeff is going to buff over time. We could do something a lot wild like a Legion into Muir Island, and then it's just all over the place. We do not get the Storm, unfortunately. We could do Cyclops into Fisk Tower. We have Spider-Man into Muir Island on 5. Or we do Cyclops into Muir Island, assuming that they don't play. We do Spider-Man into Savage Land, potentially. I assume they're going to play from Muir Island. Ooh, the Shuri. Sunspot with a Shuri. What kind of deck are they running? They're not going to try to hit that with an Arnim Zola. I don't imagine. I'm going to Spider-Man lock the left lane. Is this just a Shuri Redskull deck? There's a Redskull. And that is just hanging out in the open. Can we ever beat it? This gives us 11, because the 8 plus the 2. So it gives us 11, 12, 13. Brings us up to 29. And then an extra 1, so technically 30 compared to what they are. No, we'd lose by 2. This one's going to take the combo, I think. I think this one is going to require us to get the combo off. We go down too early, but it could be much worse. It could be like 4, like we did earlier. And so we have the Iron Lad, the Jubilee early on. We don't have, our Nebula. We could always, potentially Legion the Altar of Death, and then everything that they played just gets destroyed after that, which is kind of exciting. Unless they have, I guess, like a Doctor Doom, but I doubt that they do. We get Legion. I mean, it may not be like a good play, but it is most definitely a play. Cyclops would allow us to Legion next turn. And then we do have the Jubilee to dig further depending on where we need that power. It's strange, but we're going to do Cyclops now. They go with the Sauron. Unfortunately, our Nebula is going to turn into a symbiote. No, it won't, because it's not going to be after turn 4. Let's go ahead and log in the Legion. They have 1 turn to get power off, either here or here. And I think we're okay. Maybe they do their Shuri this turn. I kind of hope that they do, because that is so much fun. Let's go Legion in Altar of Death, which just becomes wild. No, they go Typhoid Mary. So we are going to need a little bit of help in that right lane. We're going to need a lot of help, actually. The bad thing about Jubilee is she has a chance to draw into Storm. Yeah. We'll go ahead and back out now. Altar of Death looked fun, but they dropped the Typhoid Mary, which was solid power. Very good power. This location just became a little bit too much. We were going to have to compete with Jubilee and Nebula in the right lane, and just we weren't able to do both. We do get Sunspot here, and so we have our Jubilee. We're just looking for the Storm combo. That's all we want to do. Is the solid Storm. The peak comes down again, which is crazy that we've seen the peak that many times so far. I'm going to do Jubilee. I'm going to do Jubilee into the right lane. I thought about doing it into mid, but if it hits Storm, then they have the benefit of having the Sunspot there that can soak. White Hot Room is interesting, though. I think we Jeff over there. We have Storm, we have Iron Lad. So on turn 5, we have a pretty good shot of trying to draw into the Legion here. And we'll have extra energy. This one's definitely going to be a snap. Our Sunspot benefits, everything benefits for us. And we get the retreat. That is a 1 cube little chip in the armor. We're going to need a lot more chips. So Nebula, Sunspot. We can copy both. Let's wait and see what we draw, but we are going to copy the Nebula. We're going to copy the Sunspot. If we lock down the game by turn 5, then this is huge. Tinker's Workshop gives us an extra energy, so we will be able to scale with the Sunspot. Go ahead and copy the Sunspot. We'll play Nebula in the right lane, and then next turn we can Sunspot in the right lane, as we're looking to transition into hopefully a Storm would be ideal. Okay, so the armor, I don't think they're going to have a Killmonger, which is why we're okay floating our 1-cost cards. If we thought this was a deck that ran the Killmonger, we would definitely have to be concerned. Sinister London gets kind of wild if we hit that with a Legion. Let's go ahead and do a Sunspot. And that's going to be 3 Sunspots on the board. 2 Nebulas. If we can now storm that location, and then potentially Legion, it's unstoppable after that. They're playing it very cautiously. And I think with a control deck, you're going to find that more often than not. You have to hope that you can grab a greedy player right off the bat and get a 4 or an 8 cube, and then after that, it gets much, much more difficult. Sanctum Sanctorum. So we're not going to be able to play for that location. Nebula. I mean, we could play our Jeff over there if we draw into it. We can do Nebula. They get Sunspot off the bat, off the jump. Okay, start tower. We do have Storm. We have Iron Lad and Jubilee to try to dig for our Legion. And I'm wondering if maybe this time around, we might just want to Storm. We might just want to Storm, even if we don't get Legion onto the board. I think that's okay, because Mirror Dimension is either going to grab Sanctum Sanctorum or the Flooded location, and so either way it is going to be very restrictive after turn 4. And so I think they probably recognize that. They'll let their Sunspots soak. They'll get as much as they can out early. And so the 0 and then Lizard, yeah, 0 Lizard makes a lot of sense. Does copy into the Flooded location. We do get Legion, and so we know that this is not going to hit it. I think we go Iron Lad into this right lane. We could do Iron Lad. We could either do that there or do it in mid, and then next turn we have the possibility to do Legion. We have the possibility to do our Jubilee to dig a little bit deeper, depending on what Iron Lad hit in that middle location. And so if this hits Sunspot, that's fantastic. If it hits Wasp, that's a little bit less impressive. Cyclops gives us a lot of residual value. And I think it's better than just doing the Jubilee regardless. We have Jeff to give a little bit of added bonus somewhere, depending on if we can win both of these Flooded locations. We do get the Sunspot in mid, which is massive. Massive of value. And that means we're going to get another Sunspot, and we can do our Jubilee. We have Jeff for Sanctum Sanctorum to steal that one away. As long as we can win this right lane, I think we're perfectly fine. I think even though we have the Iron Lad that hit the Sunspot, it's fantastic value, but I think we still give that one up. They hit the Taskmaster, which just copies the 5. It's going to look like it comes down to whoever can soak more. They're probably going to retreat here, but we have the Jeff, which they don't know we have the Jeff. I don't know if they've seen the Jeff come down yet in the earlier rounds. This is for 4. Whether they retreat here or not, it's for 4. We'll be able to scale much higher than they can here. And the Jeff will be that difference maker. And so let's go ahead and lock it in. They stay. Why did they stay? We will gladly take it. They're not quite all the way out, but they are all the way out. We will take the 5-round victory against Dog Backwards, and we are going to go ahead and jump straight into the next round. All right, next up we have Lance. The first location is going to be Nova Roma. we do have Legion in hand. And so that gives us a much better chance of drawing into our Storm by the end of the game, or by turn 3 or turn 4 when we need it to be able to be used in unison with the Legion. That also gives us a better chance to get into our Nebula and those sorts of cards. We're gonna have to snap here. We have the Storm, we have the Legion. This is what we designed the deck for. We are gonna hope that we draw into like a Jeff or a Sunspot, but if not, we have Cyclops for one lane, Nebula for another, and then the Storm Legion combo is gonna be hard to lock down. They do have Daredevil, so maybe they're trying some kind of control deck of their own. I think we will be able to outpace them though. Let's do Legion here, or let's do Cyclops here. And then I think we Storm plus Wasp, potentially, into that Cyclops lane. It really depends. Okay, so the Sunspot into Lechugia is a little bit scary. And they might be able to outpower us. We do get Jeff, though. Jeff is going to be our secret our secret power source. Let's go Storm. Let's go Storm in the left. It is going to switch locations, and so then we will do Legion after that. I think we might be able to grab initiative here, depending on what they play. Let's see. If it's 2 or less, we might be able to grab initiative. Oh, that's not 2 or less. Okay. The Iron Lad, what does the Iron Lad hit for him? A rock. That is unfortunate because they played into the Lechugia. All right, so they're going to have the Daredevil read here. They do have initiative, and so they might be able to stop us here, potentially. They could potentially be able to stop us here. The Sunspot, I think, is going to be able to scale too much in this left lane. I think we maybe do this. That brings us up to 3, brings them down to 5, and then we can sneak it away with maybe a Jeff on the last turn. Is what we're going to have to hope for, is that one of these is enough and they're not able to play multiple cards on this turn. They're trying to buy their time. They're trying to figure it out. Okay, the Wasp in the right lane, the Professor X in the left, and so we can't win that left lane anymore. The right lane, can we win it with them soaking? I mean, yeah, we can. As long as they don't have Jeff, we can win it. So they're going to go up to 11. We will go up to 12. Actually, even without Jeff, we'll go up to a little bit higher than that. I think we're okay here. Let's go ahead and send this one through, see if they stay. I don't think they will. And even if they have Jeff, that brings them up to 7, and then they float an extra 4. Oh, at 8, and then an extra 4, so 12. This is going to bring us up to 13 at minimum. And we do get the retreat. We finally get the flooded location lockdown that we've been trying for this entire run, and it's so beautiful when it happens. Sunspot, Nebula, Wasp are a good start. Let's go Nebula in the right lane. If we're lucky, the Grand Central won't matter. We'll have changed it by turn 5, or by the end of turn 5. Asgard is big for us, though. We do have our Legion, and so if we can draw Storm now within the next couple of turns, then that is all we need. Then we won't need anything else. We'll have everything that we need to be able to find a way to win. So Washington, D.C. We get Jubilee, which is not what we're looking for, but it's not the worst. It allows us to dig deeper into our deck. Maybe we Jubilee into Iron Lad, and that hits a Storm. That's a possible chain reaction from having this card in our deck. And that's the main reason that we have it in there, is for that consistency driver of getting this complete lockdown. Because if we don't get a complete lockdown, we're susceptible, very susceptible to Killmonger plays. Now, in the long run, you're not going to get this every single game, so maybe it does become more worthwhile to put back in the Doctor Doom, put back in the second lockdown component. I think this takes the spot of Professor X where it used to be, though. And I think you have a couple ways that you can try and swing it. I think we give them the right lane. Let's use Jubilee in the left, or Jubilee into mid, and that will allow us to draw into just about everything. We could do something funny like a Legion into Grand Central, and then we all pull into cards, which I don't think is going to be good, but I think it's going to be very funny nonetheless. So I guess we're going to Jubilee into Asgard to try to make sure we win that location. Ooh, they storm for us. Beautiful. Let's go. The Lance, my friend. We hit the Jubilee. Does that hit Storm now? Of course it does. I would rather have had the Asgard draw at this point, since the flood location in the left lane is already there. But that's fine. They have initiative. We do this number, and I think we're all right. Do feel bad snapping into it though, because I don't know that we have what we need. Because I don't know that 9 power is enough to overcome whatever they have. Like an Iron Lad could potentially overcome it. A Sunspot plus a couple of soaks would potentially overcome it. So we're going to lock in this. I'm not going to snap into it because I think we are in the weaker bracket here. But we'll see. This is the 10 power in the left lane on turn 5, which isn't bad. And it's causing a lockdown across the rest of the board. And this deck's going to be awfully toxic. Probably pack a lane change mechanic, a Cosmo, or just some high power plays so that you can outpace the opponent for the rest of the game. I think they're trying to find a way to win in the left lane. Okay, one card is that Sunspot. Sunspot and Soak is beautiful. Is it enough? No, unless they have Jeff. Which they very well could have Jeff. Yes, no, it's enough. Since we don't have Jeff, it's enough. We could try to bluff snap him with a Jeff play, but we're gonna go ahead and retreat out because there's a chance they have Jeff as well. Not worth the risk. All right, round 3. This one's gonna be a tedious one, you guys. I feel it. Okay, Nowhere is interesting because you can actually, before, unless you quaked, you couldn't change Nowhere. With Legion, you absolutely can. We're gonna go ahead and Nebula in the right lane, and then we'll see. We have our Jeff, which is great. We have Cyclops on 3. Weird World is not great though. I don't like the Weird World. We get their Wasp, that's not terrible. Let's go Jeff in the left. What are they? Is this our Sunspot? I think this is our Sunspot, right? That's unfortunate. For Scallion, comes in big, but I don't know that it really does much. All right, let's go Cyclops in the right lane. I think we're going to need the extra help over there. We can always wave on them on the last turn maybe, or on turn 5. They go Cyclops as well, but it's a vanilla Cyclops. Ooh, and we get their Sunspot, so beautiful. We can potentially outpace them over here. So I think we're just going to do this. This helps us grab initiative. We can throw down Iron Lad on 5 maybe, or we throw down Wave depending on if they have Daredevil or not. They do get Iron Lad. What does it hit? Storm. We know we're drawing their Storm this next turn. I mean, we have Cyclops over there for the scale. I almost think we Iron Lad. Iron Lad mid, see what we hit. We just let this scale go crazy. That's all 3 of our scale cards in the flooded lane. And then we're just continually impacting them every turn. And so that we do get the 1 cube retreat. Lance is playing it very slowly, meticulously, but those slow chips sometimes do more impact than 1 damage of health. Sometimes it's that mental game that it starts hurting. Maybe we can chip away at Lance's armor. I've played them a few times. They're always a pretty solid player. Control versus control is kind of scary. We haven't seen a good chunk of their deck though, which is also kind of scary. Let's go Jeff in the left. And then with Storm, we may go ahead and snap, but I don't know. They have Daredevil for the 5 turn. Daily Bugle. They either get our Spider-Man, High Evolutionary, or Storm. Ooh, they're packing a Dr. Doom. We have to just skip here. Like, we could Storm. But I think we wait for the potential Legion, or the potential Iron Lad, potential Jubilee. There is the Legion. He who remains. That's Kang, but I actually don't know much about Legion. I need to read up on Legion's lore. Storm into Legion, but then we don't have very much soaking going on. We don't have very much that we're floating on the board. Maybe we Storm into mid. Nebula is the only thing that we have that scales over time. So maybe we Storm here, Legion, and like a Wasp somewhere else. Making it tough for them. We're going to try to make sure we win the Nebula lane, and then the other one is just kind of a Hail Mary, depending on where they play. So the play in Necrotia. Ooh, the Cyclops. The Cyclops and Cyclops and hit here is scary. So Legion, I actually don't know if this is the right move. Like, this is not much power. I almost think instead we play it safe and we do something like Spider-Man into the Doctor Doom plus Wasp play. The only bad thing is that they get the Professor X read here. I like the Legion line, but they just have too much power. If we had the Sunspot as well as the Nebula, absolutely. But as it is right now, we would win the right lane, but that would be all we could really compete for, because they're going to see that we're coming down with the Legion. Without the Daredevil, this line becomes a lot more mind-gamey, because then they see a Storm come down. Are they going to Legion the Storm lane? Are they going to Legion something else? What does that play look like? And I think it becomes a little bit harder to read in general or in most games. But with Daredevil, of course, they see exactly what we're doing on turn 5, unfortunately. Okay, so one card in mid. It could be Abomination. They go with a Spider-Man of their own that they got from us, mind you. And then the Wasp. Okay, and the Wasp isn't going to hit anything, though. So technically, we're winning right now, depending on if they move their Jeff or not. So they move their Jeff. Ours is 2, theirs is 3. It becomes a tie. And then it comes down to a tiebreaker, which I think we win in this left lane. Because we got their Doctor Doom, they got our Spider-Man. Maybe we can steal 4 here from the pivot away from Legion, because we just didn't have the placement. We are hoping that they don't see the Doctor Doom coming. Daredevil can give you turn 5. Only King can give you turn 6. Jeff into mid. Doctor Doom in the left lane, I imagine, is what we see come down. We get the mirror Doctor Doom, and that gives us the tiebreaker, taking away 4 of those bars of health. And so it wasn't the Legion line, but certain matches it's not going to be favored to do Legion. You're going to have to kind of pivot. But Legion is there for those mind games, especially against opponents that are not running Daredevil. I think it makes it very tough to know, should I compete for Storm or should I play away from it, spreading out my power across the board. So Central Park comes down. We don't have either of our float cards here, unfortunately. We do have Jeff. We do have Cyclops. Kiln is like just a free Legion that we can maybe trigger. If we don't draw into Legion by turn 4, we can always do Iron Lad to try to hit the Legion and surprise lock the game after turn 4, which is beyond wild. I think we go Nebula right. It's either that or we go Cyclops to the right. But I like the idea of Nebula. I think we snap into this. We go Nebula. We have Wasps to use next turn depending on where they play. And then we're going to dig. We are going to dig for that Iron Lad play or for the Legion play, as long as we don't top deck it here, which could be wild. Ooh, the Storm in the left lane is also kind of wild. That leaves them open. Oh, we draw into Legion. That's unfortunate. I guess we do something like this. One extra turn with Legion being on the top, we could have gotten so much surprise value. We may still be okay if Spider-Man is our next card. Then we Spider-Man lock the Baxter Building location. They could do something like a Professor X, but that's fine. Iron Lad hits Jubilee. Jubilee pulls into Spider-Man. Okay, well, that's not the series of events that we wanted to happen there. But it's all right. It's fine. Everything here is fine. Legion. Storm now. They know that we can't change this location. If they Professor X lock it, then we do have Jeff that can move over. But I think we go Cyclops and Afflict. That's Spider-Man. That was such a series of unfortunate events. Not hitting the Sunspot was wild. Not hitting the Storm or the Spider-Man was unfortunate. They beat us here. They have to have the Evolved Hulk, right? They got the better of us, yep. They got the better of us. We're not going to be able to bring that back down into... we're not going to be able to bring that one back down. We're still relatively healthy. So as much of a struggle and back and forth as this has been, we're still relatively healthy here. We have 6 bars of health. It's going to take 2 more of those, which could honestly swing either way. Nebula on 1 is what we wanted to see. The Superflow gives us extra energy. We could always potentially hit that with a Legion at some point. Let's go Nebula. Maybe we can lock the game after turn 4 if we get like the perfect draw. Probably not, but there's a chance. And so we have the Nebula starting off, which is big. The car. I'm going to play Cyclops into the Nebula lane. The reason being they're very likely to play cards into the Nebula lane. And so we want to kind of protect against that. And so with Cyclops, we know that we're going to be able to negatively afflict those cards that end up there. And so we both get Spider-Man out of Sakaar, which is a little unfortunate. Cloning Vats is also a little unfortunate, but we can do Storm even if we don't get Legion here. Even if we don't get Legion, that just gives us a very comfortable Cloning Vats lane, and then we're just looking to win one of the other locations. Whether that be by just like a Chavez or a Sunspot and Soak, Legion is going to be our best bet, but it's not our only bet. All right, what do they go with in Cloning Vats? They go with an Iron Lad. Should put it any number of things. It ends up hitting Cyclops. Of all things that it could hit, it hits Cyclops, which is big. And we hit Legion. Legion is really big as well, especially with Jeff in hand. Huge. They don't have Daredevil down. This is where we end the game on 4, and we can soak with our Nebula. We can negatively afflict with our Cyclops every single turn after this one, which is wild. That was the perfect top deck that we could have asked for, and we're here for it. What a way to end this run, and I imagine that we end this run this way. Ooh, they get a Cyclops. Oh, the double Cyclops makes sense. But I know that we can beat them in I know that we can beat them in one lane with their Jeff, or our Jeff. Oh my god, that double Cyclops affliction is so gross. We're gonna keep pace here. Actually, we're gonna keep pace here every single turn, and so this will go up by 2. This will negatively afflict by 2, and so we offset each other. They do -4, we do +4, -2, +2, however you want to math it. And so this will give us the win by 1 point of power. The Jeff is going to be the difference maker. It doesn't matter where we play it, but this is going to be the difference maker for us. Unless they move their Jeff, I guess. Jeff would force a tie in the flooded... Yeah, no, I don't think it matters. And I think they gave the shocked face because they assume that we have our Jeff, which thankfully we do. Otherwise, this would be a lost cause. Ooh, they moved their Jeff early to make sure that it doesn't continue to get negatively afflicted. Interesting. Okay. And so we tie in this lane. So we do this, Nebula scales up by 2, Cyclops scales down, and so we should win this one by 1 with none other than the Jeff himself. Let's go ahead and play it in the left lane. We will soak, and that is going to give us the 1 point advantage, and we will carry this one home by 1 point of power, which is just absurd. Whenever Jeff is such a pivotal card in Professor X or in like a Legion style, I think in at least a flooded Legion, it gives you so much flexibility here. And so we will take the 3rd round victory. That is an in and out. Legion is done and dusted. I think this one's solid. There will be some refinement that can be made over the next couple of days. Like maybe the Jubilee and Iron Lad package is not perfect, but it's decent. It helps you dig when you absolutely need it to. I don't know if it's better to do that versus just getting that raw value every time. I don't know. I think only time will tell. But we are going to go ahead and end the video here. We upgraded Legion instead of getting our infinite ticket. We're going to go ahead and end the video here. Thank you guys as always for being here. This has been TLSG. Later, guys.